Hey guys, Lord here, back with another action figure review. Today we'll be taking a look at the Masterverse new Etheria Dragstor, brought to us by the fine folks over at Mattel, who will remain fine folks despite the fact that my Dragstor here, unfortunately, suffers from waxy Crayola crayon hip syndrome and has a super loose right leg that I cannot tighten up because for whatever reason, like midway through this Masterverse line, they decided to change the plastic on the hips and it just does not respond to heat. At least not as good as PVC. And when I try to heat the thing up to put it back on, it just stretches that socket out, stretches it out, and then it just goes right back to being loose again. So it's an unfixable issue. If it was something I could easily fix, then I would just fix it, and I probably wouldn't even mention it other than, you know, maybe looking at articulation or something. But as it stands, I am going to be sending this guy back to the fine folks over at Big and Bad Toy Store, which is where I get a lot of my collectibles, and I highly suggest you do the same if you're like me and live in an area that kind of sucks and doesn't get a lot of stuff. At least not nowadays. I don't know what happened, but it's like my area just doesn't exist and stuff doesn't get shipped here. It is what it is. But fingers crossed, the replacement is a little bit better than this guy. I guess I can update you guys when that arrives. But as far as accessories go, why don't we cut right to the chase and get into the meat and taters of this review and take a look-see at those. Got a pair of wheelie hands, which is cool. They do roll. I don't know why these aren't attached to his legs, though. I think that would make more sense, but I will probably display him with these. I think that's a fun idea. And then we also get his crossbow, which is kind of like an engine block, much like the Classics one. So that's fun. But when you plug it on his back, it kind of looks more like a segmented Gundam wing pack. And I don't know if these are compatible with the Origins Dragstor's blast effects, but could give it a try. Taking a closer look at him. He looks cool. I think he looks really cool. And not for nothing, here's the looseness of the leg. You can see it just kind of flops him out. I mean, yeah, I'm holding him by his leg, but look at this one. It's night and day. And not for nothing, he's got the wheel that turns and feels a lot more solid than I thought he was going to. I think people were like, oh, he feels hollow and whatever. He feels fine. Like, he doesn't feel like he's going to break or anything because he's too hollow or something. If anything, these drop-down hips can kiss my arse, because that's partially why I have trouble getting these hips back on in the first place. Which, yes, he does have drop-down hips. There you go. This one was a lot tighter before trying to force this hip back on. Hopefully it ain't stressed out, but, you know, I'm returning it, so does that matter? No, it doesn't. But as far as articulation and the rest of him goes, his head can look up and down. I wish he could look up just a little more, but you can roll him across the floor, and that's pretty fun. We'll try that with his wheelie hands in a minute. Of course, you can turn his head side to side. His shoulders pop out, back down, rotate all the way around. He's got a bicep swivel double elbow, which is a little tight, but a little bit of heat, leaving him bent overnight. That kind of fixed that. Wrists will rotate, hinge. He's got the swivel at the waist, which I didn't think he was going to have, but he does, and I don't even think the Origins one has that. Hips can, of course, kick out, kick forward, back. And I guess on this guy, the drop-downs do kind of help because you can kick his leg a little bit straighter forward due to the way the diaper or the crotch is. And this little thigh piece, they do bump into each other. But he does have a thigh swivel and then a double-jointed knee. That does work. The strap and the boot cuff will get in the way, but that's to be expected. That said, he does have a boot cut, hinge at the foot with a rocker, and that's your lot. I gotta say, I really hope that Chronicles line fixes this hip problem and uses actual PVC, something I can fix if it's loose, because this waxy crayon crap, I never liked it. I don't know why they switched to it, but it freaking sucks. Plugging in these wheelie hands, which thankfully don't feel too fragile either. They just kind of port right in. I think they're a little looser than his regular hands, which is what you want, because these are all around like solid plastic. I don't know how you're really supposed to do this. I'm assuming something like this, maybe. Maybe have them out front. Because the problem is this piece doesn't turn. Bend his elbow. Maybe that's how you're supposed to do it. Kind of looks like he's crawling. Crawling on his belly. Just like that one Pool song there. Yeah, there we go. Straighten his feet out. Now he's a trike. Look at that. He rolls pretty good with all three wheels. Woo! 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 That's pretty fun. I would argue that's more fun than the Origins release that costs more than this guy does. So, yeah, that's Overlord's hot take for the day. That said, we could plug this into his back here, which, again, looks like he's got wings, so I don't know how that's going to help him go faster, but, you know, stranger things have happened, I suppose. So, standing him up, he looks good. I think he looks cool. Is he perfect? Absolutely not, but, you know, it's Masterverse. It's a pretty affordable little line of figures, and it sucks to see it go, but hopefully they make some changes, and some of the issues I had with Masterverse don't carry over to Chronicles. So with that being said, it's time now that we move right along and take a look at some size comparisons. First up, here is good old Dragstor alongside what I like to call the final wave of Masterverse figures. We have the new Etheria Dispara we took a look at yesterday. So check that review out. If you haven't already, really appreciate it if you did. As well as the odd man out, in my opinion anyways, the new Etheria Keldor, who we will be taking a look at tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. And as I mentioned in the Dispara review from yesterday, Dragstor feels a little bigger than a standard figure. Keldor being a male, Dispara being a female, both standard bucks. Just feels like in comparison to Dragstor, they're a little bit shorter. But maybe I'm just seeing things, or not seeing things in my case, because, you know, I'm legally blind. So moving these two out of the way, so we can make way for our two regulars, the Mythic Legion's Brother Mandibolith. A loose foot yesterday. Let's see if he'll cooperate today. Looks like he is. And we also have the 11 Spawn, who is about neck and neck. Little Dragstor here. And while he might not have a ton of black, he's got enough to qualify as a member of the Men in Red and Black Club. At least to me. What say you? I say it's time now that we wrap things up with some final thoughts. Overall, and aside from the incredibly loose right leg on my particular figure, I thoroughly enjoy this version of good old Dragstor. I think he looks really cool, and for whatever reason, I'm really digging the wheelie hands. I think that's a fun idea. Granted, I think they would have made more sense on his legs, but I digress. And also, I do think it's a little weird that his crossbow is backwards on his back. I would think if he was blazing down the Eternian highways, or Etherian highways, whichever, The pipes should all be facing the other way instead of looking like some kind of weird segmented Gundam wing pack, but I'm no toy designer. I just buy them and complain about them on the internet. That said, I'm hoping that this new Chronicles line that is going to be taking the place of Masterverse does one thing, and that is make the hips out of PVC again. In case they're loose, I can always heat them up, warp them, and pop them back on, no problem. These waxy Crayola crayon hips, they just don't retain heat, man, and it's a pain in the arse to get them back on. So, with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this review. Until next time, catch you guys later.